day after analysis is way different than night of analysis. Night of analysis, and then the next morning is, well, actually, this isn't as bad as you thought. And this isn't as bad as you thought. And the thing I'm seeing this morning is don't blame the offensive line. What we saw was an inexperienced quarterback creating pressure by holding on to blah, 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 blah. That's not what I saw last night. Maybe I'm more stuck in the night of analysis than the morning after, because the morning after analysis is always very, actually, okay. What do you guys think? Am I making too much of this offensive line? Is it all a mirage right now? I don't know. You tell me. Who's up first? Leo.
I'll go. Yeah, it's an issue if you don't have Mike McGlinchey for sure. Yeah. If you do have Mike McGlinchey, I think you'll be fine, because then you're looking at basically like a triangle within the offensive line being solid, and that triangle being Trent Williams, Mike McGlinchey, and Brendel in the middle though. Brendel, you know, he's got good traits, and then he's looking good as well. So I'm like, okay,
you know, UCLA too, which is really important. That's great. I like that about him. Yeah.
And so then it's like, I know Burford had a rough night last night, but I believe he'll be fine. The biggest question mark for me is the left guard position. But how big is it? I would say it's probably mild. Because of left guard is a crucial position in this offense. It's the reason why Tomlinson was around for about 5 years. So it's just and we haven't really seen what it looks like without him, because he was an Iron Man. So it's just kind of it's mild right now. The only reason why it's mild is because you don't know when McGlinchey's gonna play. Yeah. You don't know what Banks is gonna look like. While I have hope for Burford, that still remains to be unseen in a regular season action. So it's mild. It's not hot. It's not like, oh my God, Trey Lance is going to get sacked every single play.
Okay.
No, I don't think it's going to be that.
What do you think, Jose?
Yeah, before training camp preseason, I thought it was the biggest issue, but I think for me, it's a little more tapered off. It's still an issue to me, but it's not as like huge glaring. Mainly because of Brendel. Like, to me, I thought Leo hit the nail on the head. Like, okay, like I have faith in. I'm not worried about Williams. That's a constant. And then seeing McGlinchey in training camp and early goings of preseason, I was like, okay, McGlinchey's fine. He knows how to come back from injury. I think he'll be okay there too. And then Brendel's looked okay as well. The only concerns really would be the two guard position, which Burford has looked fine, surprisingly. That's a great find right there. And then, like Leo laid out, left guard, okay, huge question mark. And then I guess so to me, it's still ultimately just interior, but it's not as like red alert as it was. I'm not saying I'm like confident in it, because I could still be like a fault. Like we saw last night, there were still some plays where it's like, God, what the hell are these guys doing? I mean, it's something where you hope it's the loose ends are a little more tightened up. And I wrote it in the game story last night. It's the way the offensive line performed was kind of a showcase of how they were in training camp for a good portion of what you've seen, Grant, what I saw a little bit. And that it kind of was the same thing, the way Trey Lance's performance was week 1 and week 3 is the same way the offensive line was week 1, week 3. Week 1, it was looking pretty solid. I know they allowed pressure a little bit there, but week 3 was a lot more pressure versus like clean pockets. So I kind of see them and Lance being a roller coaster at the same time. Of there's going to be highs where they're going to have good moments, a lot of lows. So again, same thing. You hope the regular season you cut down on as many lows as you can. And that kind of starts with that interior, because I'm not worried about Williams. I'm not that worried about McGlinchey. It's more so what's that interior? Is Brendel the real deal? Is Banks ever going to figure out? Because that's why they're putting Poe there, because they are trying to get him some reps just to see what he looks like. I know Kyle Shanahan was like, oh, that's what Chris Forrester's doing. The only reason why Shanahan's saying that is like, no, Forrester, you could do what you want and get your guy ready in case Banks isn't it. But I want to see our second round pick do well, because we look like fools. It doesn't work out that way. So that's why I think that's the way I interpreted it. So ultimately, just interior, just hopefully those loose ends are tightened up and polished. And if they're just sufficient, you're good enough to push on towards a playoff contention.
To me, this is still the biggest issue on the team. And I think it's a real issue, because I think all offseason it's been Trent Williams and 4 question marks. Like left guard. I mean, I like Jason Poe. I'm not a fan of Aaron Banks, but we saw with Jason Poe, like, let's look at both guards, Poe and Burford. They're both talented. Both of them could be good starters, but I think they're going to be growing pains. So that's guard. Yep. You got 2 first-time starters there. Then, like, Brendel right now looks like the second best offensive lineman on the team, and he's a question mark. So we'll see from him. So far, so good. And then right tackle. To me, this is maybe the biggest question on the team because McGlinchey hasn't been healthy in a while. He had the setback unlike Javon Kinlaw. What's his year going to be like? Because even when he's healthy, he's not like a great player. Like he went down last year. Tom Compton did a good job replacing him. The Niners, he played a lot of games and he wasn't good, but the Niners were fine without. I don't know if they have a Tom Compton. I was really disrespectful to Tom Compton. I want to take that back. But I don't know that Jalen Moore is as good as Tom Compton or Colton McKivitz. I guess we'll find out. Maybe they are. But that to me is a big question mark as well. Like, is McGlinchey going to be here this year or is he going to be in and out? Because there's no Tom Compton walking through that door. And last thing I want to say is it's a kind of a tricky question. Is the offensive line an issue? Not necessarily with the run game. And they run the ball most of the time. So if they can sort of like play the game the way they want and get a lead and run the ball and play good defense, they can work around it. But pass protection is an issue. It's always an issue for this team. And eventually you got to throw the ball. And every year this team gets quarterbacks hurt. So yeah, it's a freaking issue. And I hope Kyle figures it out. Okay. Sorry. I just don't want to see those videos in the morning from Dan Orlovsky being like, this sack is the quarterback's fault. That sack is the quarterback's fault. Were they doing that to you when you were in Detroit? Is that why you do this? You ran out of the back of the end zone. That was your fault.